Hi, I'm a hermit, and I am joining the vlog hop started by Mahogany Homemaker. I have my list of questions here, so let's go ahead and get started. Question one is, how many kids do you have? I have two. I have two children, and I have homeschooled two children from my son from fourth grade and my daughter from second grade. Um, this year, um, in May, I graduated my daughter from homeschooling, and she is the second of my two children, and she graduated at age 16, and she will be leaving for college in 3 weeks. My son graduated the spring before, um, and he just turned 19 2 days ago, which is why I didn't have this video up sooner. We were celebrating. And he's heading into his second year of college. How many years have we homeschooled? Um, I believe 10 years. Give or take a year. I think 9.5, technically, years to completion, considering when I started them and the fact that uh, my daughter skipped uh, 8th grade. And that's an interesting story. We did several styles of homeschooling, but during the middle school years when the kids started getting feisty and I wanted to focus more on being their parent than their teacher for the sake of our relationships, I had them in a hybrid homeschool program where they had 2 days a week in a homeschool, with other homeschoolers, and they grouped the entire middle school together. So, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade were together, and after 2 years of being together in the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade class, the principal told me that she was done with middle school. So, awesome. And because she was matriculating through it so quickly, after that, I brought her back to full-time homeschooling with the exception of her fine arts. That leads us to philosophy and method of homeschooling. Um, we would be eclectic. Um, my philosophy is actually more of an unschooling philosophy, whereas um, the bulk of their education was centered around their interests and their gifts. Not unschooling or radical unschooling to the point where I let them get up in the morning and decide what they were going to do, but to the point where I constantly evaluated and questioned them on what they enjoyed and watched what they had a propensity towards. And I made that the main focus of their education. In our case, that involved, like I just said, a lot of hybrid homeschooling, as they used a program called Artios Academies, pretty much all the way through, where they had, their piano lessons, their voice lessons, their art classes, um, their visual arts. I just said that. And drama club was the big deal because my daughter ended up getting a full scholarship for theater, and my son ended up getting a scholarship for graphic design. So you can see how that paid off in basing their education around what they had a propensity to and what they loved. There's also a lot of classical in my philosophy, whereas I made sure they, had a lot of exposure to Latin roots and, classical books. And the Artios program I chose is history based, whereas they do all those arts, but up through 8th grade, all of those arts are centered around a time period of history so that they experience the history versus memorizing facts. So let's see. And there was a large amount of Charlotte Mason philosophy in my homeschooling as well, especially for my daughter who loves to read, in that we picked a lot of good living books for more in-depth experience, so that she could even experience even more deeply historical periods, scientists of a time period, and all that. She get to know who these people were and how they lived, and that was through reading and books, and that borrows from the Charlotte Mason philosophy. Looking forward. Well, I'm done homeschooling, so at this juncture, this next year, I'm focusing on finishing the book that I'm writing. Actually, I have 2 books halfway done on homeschooling, and I want to finish them and get them printed. I'm also helping a couple of people navigate their children through homeschooling, and I would say my specialty would be in more of a guidance counselor for high school homeschoolers. That's where my heart is, and I do the planning, I do the report cards, I do the portfolio, and I can help with transcripts to get them into college. I've gotten my 2 kids into 3 colleges successfully at this point, because my son transferred from the private college he was in as a freshman, and he will be starting a new college in the fall, a state college in the fall, partly because he adjusted from graphic design to computer design, and the original college doesn't really fit what he wanted, and secondly because he wanted to be near his sister. So now both of my children will be near each other, even though they won't necessarily be near me, 2 hours away. I'm also looking forward to seeing my kids grow into more independent young adults, needing less and less guidance from me in things like managing their finances, something that I made sure they took classes on and worked through curriculum on during their senior year. But I'm weaning them off of looking toward me when it comes to making financial decisions. And I'm just excited to see who they will grow into as adults. So there you are. There's my introduction for the vlog hop. I am done homeschooling. I am working on the books that I have in production, and I am always open to answering your questions. So thanks for watching.